Warring Triad were a subject I wanted to tackle for some time now. To be honest, I never thought the 14 development team would have the balls to actually bring in Final Fantasy 3, or 6 if you're not as old as I am, into the game. But now that I think about it, it's Final Fantasy, and it's an MMO. Why am I surprised anyway? With the treasure trove of resources they can leech off for years without being a total prick, I could see them pulling in things like Castle Cornelia, the Phantom Train, the Moon, Midgar, Gunblade, some sort of Emperor, Flying Islands, Flying Whales, Gods. Well, I guess they already did that. Omega Weapon, Golden Mansions, Limit Break, Super Weapons, Summons, and now I'm just stating what's already in the game. Well, you get the point. The 14 team has without a doubt been pulling things from the depths of their own franchise to keep 14 relevant. And no, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. You can't tell me when you saw the Cloud of Darkness in all her glory, you can't tell me you weren't excited. Also, this thing. From 13. Yeah. Well, Sephirot, or Fiend as I know him, was actually quite the pull-in for the game. I for one don't know how they even pulled this one since his origin is quite different from his original game. But this isn't an unwelcome situation, it is in fact something they had planned since the expansion's development and planning. I mean, these statues weren't here for nothing, and even I had a bit of a flashback to 3, or 6 for you young folks, when I saw this statue looking like Goddess. So as to say, this is quite welcomed. I was wondering if they were going to do something with them since they looked out of place just being there on top of the flagship. I mean, why design the ship like this if they weren't going to do anything with it, right? Well, with my instincts always on point, remember I was one of the first to note that Bahamut was not one of the 2 Great Worms in Eorzea back in 2.0, and don't say you didn't think that neither, because we all thought that he was, but I was the smarter one. This case was different, as I really couldn't put down whether it was actually the Warring Triad or not. I mean, if you hear their story, you'll probably get my point. The Warring Triad are based from the Warring Triad from Final Fantasy 3, or 6, as I said before. They were 3 extremely powerful beings that came into existence just because. You know, gods. Not sure which one came first, but whatever. The 3 saw one another and for some dumb reason decided that it would be a great idea to fight one another, endangering the entire populace of the planet because someone made a face they didn't like and thought warring it out was a grand idea to settle the face-making score, which is the reason why they're called the Warring Triad. Obviously there was something more to it, but because of this, I had the sudden realization that Square really likes their god tropes in video games, and also killing them off. Well, the Warring Triad had fought for many years before they realized how much they fucked up, since they not only shaped the landscape, but possibly put the races on the planet to near extinction. So with all vigor, they decided it was a good idea to seal their powers away. I mean, through them, the Espers were born, by enslaving mortals to make their army, sending them into battle with no will of their own, and in the end, when they see how much they screwed the world, they sealed themselves, freed the Espers, without changing them back by the way, and told them to never awaken them, even though they freed them from eternal slavery, without changing them back. Kinda hypocritical of them to give orders when they fucked them up in the first place. Anyway, so yes, the Espers did as they told like the little magical slave laborers they were, and attained to live their lives, which were eternal. They weren't mortals anymore. The Espers put them in place to where if they were moved, chaos would ensue. Cause, you know, that's the smart decision. However, after the War of the Magi, the Espers left for a new realm, taking the Triad with them, thus how they became statues, and why they were sealed in the first place. Now 14 has a different story. The Warring Triad were brought into the world due to desperation for salvation from a conquering nation we all know as the Elag Empire, and can I just say one thing? This game focuses so hard on the Elag that people don't seem to be bothered by the fact that we constantly use their stuff. Replicated items, weapons, armor, whatever. We for some reason see the Elag as some point for us as adventurers in a society, fictional mind you, to reach as a nation in terms of technology and as a social standard. Even though they caused wars between nations, enslaved numerous races, brought about Bahamut by killing the real one, caused world catastrophes just by innocently imprisoning the very being they brought forth, being the dicks that they were, and let's not forget the Crystal Tower saga. Boy, did they achieve a point for where they literally killed themselves over. Well, yet again, because the Elag just couldn't get enough of being to the entirety of the inhabitants of Eorzea, they decided to war with the three other nations of beastmen to take them under their control. I think at this point you see my personal feelings towards the Elag. But because of this, the three special races of beastmen brought about three extremely powerful primals who had the power to literally destroy the continent, if not the world. They are the Warring Triad, warring being relevant to the fact that they were fighting the Elag and not each other. Now, since the Elag were badass geniuses, they captured the Warring Triad. Not easily, mind you, but captured all the same. And because they were so kind, they used their limitless power to keep them alive through artificial means, and to constantly siphon their energy. This is what keeps their flying fortress, or research site, afloat, and what keeps it from crashing into the abyss below. But, of course, they'll find a way to retcon its ability to stay afloat after the Triad's defeated. Won't they? So the first Triad member we are graced with is Sephirot the Fiend. This guy is supposed to be the weakest of the three. I mean, seeing how Fiends are supposed to be a subcategory for a demon, and this thing over here is the demon, then I guess he would be the weakest and the first of the three we would be fighting. But here's the most interesting thing about him. In Final Fantasy 3, or 6, if you ain't an old man like me, Sephirot, or Fiend, or Doom, had the third highest amount of HP in the game. In 14, his HP may be irrelevant, because does it really matter in a level adjusting game like Final Fantasy 14? The answer is no. This brings me to what I think will happen with the Warring Triad in the future, and I'll do it in number format. Number 1. One of them will be really important. My guess is Goddess, since she looks the most human. Number 2. We'll actually see what's behind the mask of this fool, because why is he even hiding his face in the first place? What the hell does he have to gain from hiding his face? It's not like I know him, or you'll know him, or anybody in that matter. Number 3. Azys Law will fall out of the sky. Well, it won't, but imagine if it did. That would be some sudden shit, right? Number 4. Really flashy weapons. Because fuck extreme mode. Number 5. We'll get at least a little bit more on why the fuck the Elag made this giant city-like fortress of research in the first place. It's way too fucking big. Number 6. We'll get yet another mount that people will showboat in Edelshire. Oh, and also, fuck you for doing that. Number 7. Demon and Goddess will drive me insane because of how complicated their battle format will be. Oh no, 14 is pretty good at pissing me the fuck off. They're very good at making battles hard for me, especially since, you know, unless you have friends, which I don't, you'll be queuing with random people and dying at least 4 times before you get the pattern down as a group. So with that being said, help me. Number 8. I'm going to fall in love with Goddess. Don't judge me. Number 9. The Garlia Empire will do a thing. I don't know what that thing will be, or how they're going to do this thing, but it's certainly going to be a thing. A thing that's going to cause another thing to happen. Kind of like a thing. Listen, I can't describe it any better than that, so shut up. And number 10, Syncweaver is going to make yet another Warring Triad video, because there are 3 of them, and he hates leaving things half done. So Square, if you don't mind, make the next patch release like next month so my channel can stay relevant. Thank you! So that was my top 10 reasons why the Warring Triad's going to cause me a brain aneurysm. What? That's not what the video's about. Why the hell am I even talking? Why am I here? Why are you talking to me? How'd you get in my house? Who are you? Get the fuck out of my house! Stop correcting me! So what can I say to you guys but thank you for watching my video. Of course, if you want to leave comments down below, then go right ahead. Do you have anything to add to the Warring Triad? Is there something that I missed? Or maybe you want to comment on why I speak so low in this video and not on the others? Well, you know, there's 5 people in this house now and I can't speak so loud anymore. But tell me, do you like the new voice? Does it sound better? Or does it even matter? Whatever. Of course, you guys could subscribe and, you know, do your thing down there and all that other good stuff. And of course, I do have a Patreon going on. Just need to remind you guys of that. But seriously, this new voice thing that I have to do is gonna be a bit different for me. Hopefully it works out in the future. Also, a little shout out to, it's really unrelated, but my favorite YouTuber, or one of my favorite YouTubers, some call me Johnny, just got his new house. And he's working off of YouTube money. I'm getting there. Eventually. See you guys next time.